Switchcraft is brought to you live 3 times a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern and on Saturday at whatever time I can get to it. Tune in live over at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp. This episode of Switchcraft is brought to you by Tom. Support Switchcraft and my other content for as little as $1 over at patreon.com/runjumpstomp. Save. There we go. We got the hard part out of the way. There's a little bit of a wind feedback sound. You're right. Thank you for letting me know, Mikey B. Playing. Did I get rid of it? That was my fan. I rode my little bike this morning and I left my fan on and I just forgot that it was on. Should I start over or just leave it in? I'm just going to leave it in. I'll just leave it in. It's fine. We're all fine. All right. That's right. I do care. I do care about that. But I'm going to leave it in. I'm not going to replace it. All right. 217, I believe. Episode 217 of Switchcraft is brought to you by Amazon Prime. I've been a member of Amazon Prime for a very long time. We use it all the time. It's a great service. In addition to getting free shipping, you get movies, you get music, you get lots and lots of different things. They have a fantastic return policy, which I am a big fan of and have used multiple times in the past. If you want to check out Amazon Prime for free for 30 days, all you have to do is head on over to runjumpstomp.com/Amazon Prime, and you get all the benefits of having Amazon Prime for free for 30 days. In addition to that, you'll also get Twitch Prime. That's included in your subscription. And then you can use that to watch Twitch without any ads. Get free stuff from Twitch. Like every month, they put out some free stuff. And in addition, you can also subscribe to your favorite streamer, whoever that may be. So again, that URL is runjumpstomp.com/Amazon Prime to directly support the show. Thank you. There we go. All right. Famous last words, but I think this is going to be a short episode. There's really not, you know what? I'll talk about it in the actual nonsense, if that makes sense. The actual nonsense, you know what I mean. So, famous last words. I think that this is going to be a shorter episode. Now, almost every time that I say that, I start talking about something, whatever it may be, and I continue to talk about it for a really long time, and then it ends up being a long episode. We'll see how that goes. Let's jump right into the news. I want to start out today by taking a look at something that dropped right after I recorded my previous episode, and that was the Nintendo Labo vehicle kit. This was actually a pretty big surprise, and the reason it was such a big surprise is because Nintendo just brought out Labo, I think it's been less than 6 months ago, and I didn't expect them to bring out another kit quite so soon. We already had the robot kit, which was a motorcycle going by. We already had the robot kit, which was, how do I want to phrase that? Or what was the price? It was $80. And then we also had the variety kit, which was $70. And now we've got the vehicle kit, which is also $70. I got this from the press release from Nintendo. So let's go ahead, and if you're watching the show over at YouTube, I'm switching over to some images for you to see. But according to Nintendo, you can drive, dive, and fly with the new Nintendo Labo vehicle kit. So you can build like this steering wheel, as well as a gas pedal. And the steering wheel has this weird little hook on a string that you can pull. And from the footage in the YouTube video, which I'm not going to show, if you want to check out the video, just, check it out at Nintendo's site. I'm not going to co-opt their video. But if you look at their video, it looks like the player can use this thing to like launch things. So they showed for a moment where the guy, the person was playing the game. They're driving the little truck. And they pulled that, and it like shot bombs forward in order to blow up something that was in their way. I thought that was really cool. The graphics overall look really nice. But then they showed the car driving and going into the water. And then they switched out, instead of having the steering wheel and the gas pedal, they put the steering wheel aside, and they had this. It very much reminds me of an old submarine arcade game. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head now that I'm thinking about it. This is from the 80s, this old submarine arcade game where it had two handles on the side, and you could independently rotate these two handles. And I even feel like I remember that there was like a little like a thing that you would put your face up to in order to look through the periscope of the submarine in that arcade game. Maybe it was called Periscope, but I don't think so. That's not as important, but that's what the controls kind of look like. And then you can kind of pilot this submarine around underwater, which also looked really cool. Then they showed off that you can also have a giant joystick, which this is probably my favorite thing on the whole thing, is this giant joystick. It looks like, the flight yoke that you would use on an airplane. Very reminiscent of old joysticks. I remember when I had my Commodore 64 back in the day, I had a joystick for it, and it was basically a square with a stick that stuck up out of it and a button on top. And this is basically what that looks like, only very exaggerated in size, much bigger. It looks a little unwieldy, but I thought it was kind of cool. And you still use the gas pedal for that. And overall, I thought all of these things looked really, really neat. I felt like the gameplay that they showed off in the YouTube video, to me, it seemed like it was more involved than the gameplay that they showed off for the other two Toy Cons. Now, I have to admit that I've not played any of the Labo games, so I don't personally know if those games were as shallow as they looked to me. But this definitely looked like a more involved game. And for them to bring this out so close to the release of the first two Toy Cons, I find that really, really interesting. And I can definitely see us getting another one in maybe another 6 months. And this might be a thing that Nintendo just keeps dropping new Toy-Con things over and over again. It seems really cool. Again, I'm not interested in having this stuff at my house because I don't want to have all that cardboard cluttering up everywhere. But overall, I think that of all of the three that I've seen so far, this one looked to be the most game-like. I still think the one that was the most interesting to me was probably the variety kit, just because it seemed like it had a lot of different stuff that you could do, hence the name variety kit. But the vehicle kit is definitely a close second. And then the one that I'm least interested in is the robot kit. Not only because it's $10 extra, but also like that thing just looks so huge and it looks like it takes up so much room, and like putting it on just seems like a hassle. So all of those things together make me think that it would just sit in the corner and never get used because it's just too much of a pain. Anyway, I'm curious what you guys think about Nintendo Labo vehicle kit. Where you can dive, drive, and fly. I think that's really cool, and I would be absolutely flabbergasted if, the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was just updated to utilize the motorcycle Toy-Con stuff that came with the variety kit. I would be flabbergasted if Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is not updated so that you can use the steering wheel that you build with this for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like, that would be crazy if they don't do that. So I expect that to happen pretty soon. Although it did take them quite a while to do that after Toy-Con, the Variety Kit came out. Like, it took them quite a while before they updated Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I really, I said this before, I almost feel like that was a mistake on their part. It should have been day one. By the way, with this Nintendo Labo stuff, we also are updating Mario Kart 8 Deluxe so that you can play with the motorcycle. Oh man, I think it would have sold a lot more at that point, because that would have increased the hype for it. This doesn't come out until, let me click on the story again. I forgot when it comes out. I think it's September, but I could be wrong. Scrolling. And I cannot find it. I think, oh, here we go. It's $69.99. Pre-order. Oh, why didn't I not? I guess I didn't write this in the story. September? Yes, September 14th. There we go. So sorry about all that. Yeah, September 14th is when this actually comes out. You can pre-order it now. But I still definitely want to know what you guys think about this new Toy-Con kit. Do you think that we're going to be getting a lot more of them? Let me know. Perfect for Diddy Kong Racing. Hey, Cogwhistle, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Nerd Nest. There's a high five for you. All right. So if you're watching the YouTube video, I can't show this because I don't want to bring somebody else's video up on screen. However, there's two videos that you might want to check out. I've got links to those in the show notes. You can find the show notes over at runjumpstomp.com/217, because this is episode 217. If I did the math right, but /217, and you can click on the links in the show notes. There's a couple of games that are coming to the Nintendo Switch that I thought looked pretty interesting. The first one is called Guns, Gore, and Cannoli 2. This is coming to, we've got the launch trailer for this. I'd never even heard of the first one, and I'm looking at the Discord to see who dropped that. That was Deadlock in our Discord community. Dropped that in the Switchcraft links. What's the word I'm looking for? The Switchcraft links channel. And Guns, Gore, and Cannoli, it's got this kind of 8-bit, 16-bit style of art style. And it very much reminds me of an old game that I remember pumping a lot of quarters in the arcade, and that's Metal Slug. It very much reminds me of Metal Slug. Metal Slug was this side-scrolling shooter, multiplayer shooter, where it was a Neo Geo game, and I think you can even get the Neo Geo game for the Nintendo Switch now that I'm thinking about it. But basically you were trying to rescue POWs and kill the enemy, and it had really, really brightly colored graphics. It looked fantastic, especially for the day. Like, I feel like Metal Slug was way ahead of its time, and it was one of those games that I always loved to play, but it was so expensive to play because it just ate your quarters really fast unless you were amazing at the game. At least maybe it was just me, but that was the first thing that I thought of when I saw Guns, Gore, and Cannoli 2 for the Nintendo Switch. It made me think of Metal Slug. And it's called Guns, Gore, so it's obviously a very bloody game, although it's very cartoonish in its gore, so it really doesn't seem too bad to me, although I wouldn't be surprised if this is rated M for just the amount of blood that is on the screen. It also seems really funny. It takes place during World War II, and there's this one thing that they say in the trailer where they're kind of talking about how it seems like they're mobsters and somebody's encroaching on their turf, but then they had fled to Europe, and they're like, well, let's go chase them and kill them. And the one guy was like, you know that there's a war on over there, right? We don't want to do that. But it looks really cool, and I think that Guns, Gore, and Cannoli looks fun. So I'm definitely going to be checking that out later on when it comes to the Switch. The other game that is also coming to the Switch is a game called Crossing Souls. And Crossing Souls is this really, it's funny, when I first saw Crossing Souls, like I think I saw it on Reddit or something, but when I first saw the what's the word I'm looking for, just the word Crossing Souls, the first thing I thought was, oh, are they talking about Animal Crossing? And then I was like, oh no, this is not Animal Crossing. And then I was immediately disappointed, but then I saw the art style and I thought, wow, that looks really cool. It very much feels like a game that has they're trying to capture the nostalgia of the 80s. Like they've got that same font, very 80s style font with the almost bubblegum like written cursive, where the way that they wrote Souls in a hot pink color. And I'm not going to play the video on here, but it looks really fun. Very 16-bit art style. Looks like a platforming game. It says basically here on the website, it's 1986 in California, and a group of friends will live the summer of their lives after a mysterious discovery in the woods outside their quiet town. By uncovering an artifact whose powers they don't fully understand, these remarkable kids will defy the laws of nature and somehow interact between two planes of reality, life and death. Their curiosity will trigger a series of unexpected events that will get them... my phone is responding because it thinks I said its name. Sorry about that. Their curiosity will trigger a series of unexpected events that will get them involved in a government conspiracy and a mysterious U.S. Army general with his own nefarious plans. The game has already been on Steam as well as PS4 before, but now it's coming to the Switch. It's got a bunch of really good reviews from different websites, and I absolutely love the art style of the cutscenes. Very 1990s or 80s cartoon style. Looks really cool. And then when you go into the actual gameplay, it looks very pixelated, 16-bit style, top down. Very reminiscent to me of, oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of the game. Hyper Light Drifter, I want to say. Just the way that the angle that things are at. I think that this game looks like a lot of fun, and I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out on the Nintendo Switch. I think it's definitely a good fit for the Nintendo Switch. So there you go. Guns, Gore, and Cannoli 2, as well as Crossing Souls, both of those look fantastic, and I can't wait to check them out. Hate Zero, yo, I haven't forgot about you, RJS, just got busy. Hate Zero, you're awesome. Thank you, man. If you guys didn't know, Hate Zero is one half of the Nintendo Powercast over at n64josh.com. He is he is your boy, your hero, according to him. Mikey be playing really likes Metal Slug Anthology. Yeah, me too. Wait a second. Did you just follow Hate Zero? You followed? You weren't following already? I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that. All right, we've got a tweet here that is translated automatically via Google Chrome, and this tweet is from Splatoon's Japanese account, and this is an official tweet from them. It says, and this is the translation: in the spring of 2019, it was decided. I love the way that this is phrased by the translation, because it almost seems like a trailer. In the spring of 2019, that kind of thing. But in the spring of 2019, it was decided that the competition NBP Esports Series Splatoon 2, competing against professional baseball 12 team using Splatoon 2, will be held. So it seems like there is going to be a Splatoon 2 competition over in Japan where professional baseball players are playing each other in Splatoon 2. The national team of each team will be scouted from the participating team of the 4th Splatoon Koshien. Please confirm here for details, and then they give more links or a link. If this translation doesn't make sense and you understand more about what exactly is happening here, please feel free to let me know. But the idea that Japanese professional baseball players are competing in an esports thing featuring Splatoon, that's really cool. And that's the kind of thing. Yes, they're Japanese baseball players, not like American baseball players. But that's the kind of thing that makes me think Nintendo might finally be taking esports seriously, which is something that they've just kind of let the community handle on their own. And while I appreciate that they've kind of taken a hands-off approach so far, I think it's definitely time for Nintendo to take the bull by the horns and get in there and try and make something happen. This is really odd, though. On one hand, I'm like, oh, look, they're taking esports seriously. And then this morning, when I woke up, I sat down and I watched some of the Nintendo UK Versus thing that they had going on today. And it was just a mess. It was such a mess. So I turned it on this morning, and I guess I had missed some of the Splatoon stuff. But when I turned it on, basically they were just grabbing random people out of the audience, and they're like, hey, come on up and play Mario Odyssey against each other. And they had I can't remember what the mode is called, but it's the one where you're basically a giant snowball and you have to bounce off stuff. So they were racing in that. And, some of you who've played that, you might be saying, wait a second, how are they racing? That's a single player game. Well, they just had them all on different switches, and then they were literally like they were writing down their times. Like the hosts are standing up there and they're just writing down the times. That's not the kind of thing that should be the host's job. I feel like the hosts were doing a really good job trying to make do with what they were given. But I feel like when you are a company the size of Nintendo and you're doing a live event where people are playing video games competing with each other, you need to give the hosts like a team of people to help out to make things go smoothly. I was talking to people in the chat, which was really weird because most of the time, if there's a Nintendo event and I go there, I immediately ignore the chat because it just is flying by like crazy. There were only 130 people watching this morning when I was watching it. And all I could think of was, this seems like something that was just screwed up from the beginning. The hosts were doing a great job trying to keep things together, but whoever was in charge of the organization of this, they really dropped the ball. So like the hosts were up there, they're writing down on a sheet of paper the trial times of each of the players, and they were making up as they went, like what they were going to have people do. At one point, they played Super Mario Strikers on the GameCube, and they said whoever gets the first goal will move on to the next round or whatever. Okay. And the first goal was made in 4 seconds. Like literally it happened in 4 seconds. And so then the hosts were like, well, that kind of sucks. We wanted to see a little more gameplay. How about we make it 3 goals? They're just changing the rules on the fly. And that kind of thing just made me feel like they're not taking it seriously. Mr. Cool Red Luigi in chat says, I was watching Overwatch League on ESPN yesterday, and it made me wonder what Nintendo could do to get on that level. TF Wagner is absolutely right. The reason that they're not doing exactly how they're not at Overwatch's level is because they're not taking it seriously. TF Wagner here says Nintendo isn't paying the winners. So they probably can't do anything to get on that level. And that is the problem. Nintendo is not taking it seriously. They're not paying the winners. The winners of these competitions deserve to get paid for competing, because if they don't, the quote unquote pro players, and I'm doing air quotes for those of you that are just listening, the pro players, they're not going to bother playing the Nintendo stuff because they can't win any money doing it that way. If you're going to focus on trying to be a professional game player, then you're going to go where the money is. And because there's no money in it, Nintendo can't attract the pro players. And if Nintendo, let me just paint a little picture here. If Nintendo throws money at the winners here, then the pro players start playing. What else do the pro players do? They probably stream. And if they're streaming, then people are watching them stream. And if people are watching them stream, then people are going to look at a game and they're going to be like, you know what? This game looks super fun. Look at how much fun this guy is having. And he's getting paid. Maybe I should try out this game too. And it has this effect where it just keeps helping to grow. And there's a reason why esports exist. They make a lot of money, not necessarily for the winners, although they make good money too if they're the winners. But they make a lot of money for the companies who are in charge of that stuff. And Nintendo is just letting this money slip through their fingers. I felt like it was, and I don't know how it turned out because it was still going when I stopped watching earlier. They played games like Splatoon, ARMS, Mario Kart, Super Mario Strikers, Super Mario Odyssey. Those are the ones that I saw. One thing that I did note is that they didn't have the rules set up ahead of time. They didn't have the consoles set up ahead of time. And this was the worst of all of it, is when I was watching it, they only ever showed one of the players playing. Like the announcers were talking about what was happening. Like they had all these screens in front of them and the players are playing on these screens and they're saying, oh man, look at this. They're in this place on here and they're doing that. And I was watching somebody else play. If a company the size of Nintendo should easily be able to switch between multiple camera shots so that we can see, this person's screen and this person's screen. But anyway, I've talked about this for long enough. Nintendo, get your act together when it comes to esports. I thought you're doing something right with Splatoon with this weird baseball thing, which is really weird. But then you'd really dropped the ball this morning with Nintendo UK's Versus, and I just don't know what to expect now. There we go. I don't know if I can fit this in Wyvern Rip Snarl. I don't think I'm going to record it just because I'm going long, just like I said I would. But I'll talk about it on the YouTube video and of course the Twitch as well. There's a new Joy-Con. Maybe I'm going to do this lightning round style. All right, I've got one story that I want to talk about very, very quickly, lightning round style, and that is that there is a new Joy-Con that is coming to the Nintendo Switch. This is made by, crap, I can't remember who makes it, and hopefully this YouTube video doesn't start playing. September. There we go, I paused it. Let's stop. Delete selected. Oops. Delete selected. Let's try that over again. All right, it's Hori. So I talked about this before when they first made the announcement, but now I guess that the actual device is out. We've got a new Joy-Con. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. The Joy-Con has a D-pad on it, like a real plus style D-pad, which I know is a sticking point for a lot of people. A lot of people don't like the D-pad on the left Joy-Con for the Nintendo Switch. I disagree. I think it's fantastic. Very, very comfortable. I like it better than the one on the Pro Controller, but a lot of people don't like it. And now they can go out and buy this D-pad Joy-Con from Hori for $25. And if you think that sounds like a really good steal, there are definitely limitations here. Number one, it does not have Bluetooth. It does not have gyro. Okay, so because of that, that means it's only going to be used connected to the Nintendo Switch. You can't play it if you're playing on the TV because it doesn't connect to it. It doesn't have a battery. There's no way for you to play that unless it is actually physically connected to the Nintendo Switch. I think this is a non-starter. However, if you're one of those people, and according to Nintendo, it's about half of you, if you're one of those people who never docks their Switch and only plays in handheld mode, then this seems like a really good deal for you, and you should definitely check it out. One thing that I will say is I was watching an IGN video about this, and thank you to Wyvern Ripsnarl for dropping that in the Discord. These look really, really good. I really would love to see more Joy-Cons come from Nintendo that look like this. But overall, I'm going to skip this. It's not for me. I'm not interested. But anyway, I wanted you guys to know about it. All right, so let's wrap up the show. Save all. Do I take Donos? I don't know what you're talking about there, D-Pats. Sorry, I'm not following. Donations. Well, I like to call them tips. You can scroll down and see all that stuff down below. But thanks for coming by. All right. Oh, you know what I did not do? I did not figure out what song I wanted to play for today's music. Let me go up. Music. Approved. All right, let me unmute this. Let's check out a couple of different songs. And we'll see which one. Oh, maybe I'll decide right away which one I want. Here's one from Slime Girls. Astroskeleton. Kind of like that one. Maybe that's the one we'll go with. Okay, that's Astroskeleton by Slime Girls. Okay. Astroskeleton by Slime Girls. All right, here we go. Time to record the outro. You got to remember how I wrap the show up. And that does it for us today. Don't forget that if you want to check out the full show, you can either come and watch live over at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp, or if you don't have time to do that stuff live, you can check it out after the fact over at youtube.com/runjumpstomp. If you are looking to support my content, head on over to runjumpstomp.com/thank-you. Lots of ways that you can support the show right there. Some of them free, some of them not, but big thank you to everyone who's ever used that stuff. The music that you heard on today's audio episode is Astroskeleton by Slime Girls. So make sure you check out their stuff. You can find a link to their stuff over at runjumpstomp.com/music. I am out of here. But before I go, I need to thank all of the people who are hanging out in the live chat. You guys are awesome, and the show just would not be the same without you. So let's go ahead and hit through them. We've got Banananon, Bloodluster, Decaf Smurf, D-Pats 96, Kinsidious, Lil Diabetic, Lumberjoke 2, Mikey B. Playing, Mr. Cool, Red, Luigi, Mr. Pokemon, TF Wagner, Trev125, and Wyvern Rip Snarl. You guys are awesome. Thank you for hanging out with me. I will see you all next time. That will be on Tuesday. Have a good one. Bye-bye.